Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. We are 10-1. I hope everyone's enjoying their day at work. Everybody's having a good time. There's definitely a lot to talk about regarding the Eagles roster. Getting some guys back. Some coaching help could be on the way. Don't know if it's solidified yet to be actually true. And some other news we have to go over regarding injuries, returning players, and other great stuff, and signings potentially. Got a lot to talk about here. So let's get into it.
We better turn. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. Don't we just feel so good today? We feel so great. But the season moves on. 10-1 is 10-1 right now, and the Eagles have another crazy opponent this week in the San Francisco 49ers. But during this time, the Eagles have some things they need to figure out, okay? We heard news on, obviously, really before the game against Buffalo, there was a lot of rumors the last week on Shaquille Leonard, okay? And potentially, the Eagles could have it was released from the Colts, potentially could have a lot of interest on, there was rumors the other day. Well, not rumors. I think he's visiting the Cowboys because I know they're a little light at linebacker right now, and obviously adding another piece would definitely help them. So that's happening Tuesday on this visit. Now, apparently there's some news from Josina Anderson after, I think this came a Monday morning after the win against Buffalo. So she said, not previously, initial interest was not there. However, if Zach Cunningham's hamstring injury that ruled him out of the game against the Bills is problematic and lingers, they could potentially discuss Leonard again. Then new news came out saying, I'm told the Eagles now have increasing interest in pursuing free agent linebacker Shaq Leonard following the reported hamstring injury to linebacker Zach Cunningham Sunday, per source. So, yes, we've talked about this linebacker spot. Ari Nakobe Dean is on the IR right now, and I said to myself, if anybody else gets hurt, I only talked about this every week. If another linebacker gets hurt, the Eagles are going to be very, very light. And to be honest with you, Christian Ellis didn't really have a bad game. Christian Ellis really didn't have a bad game. He was flying all over the place. I like Christian Ellis a lot. Showed a lot of promise in OTAs to training camp, but I guess the Eagles are just not too set on him right now. More of a project for another year, another offseason. But now, if there wasn't that much interest before, and now after the Zach Cunningham injury, there could have a lot of interest now. And obviously Shaq Leonard and, Nick Sirianni was in the building as the offensive coordinator for the Colts when Leonard was there, so knows this player very well. Now, I know Nick was asked a question during the press conference the other day of the player in general. Can't talk if there's a trade or whatnot, but really likes the player a lot. Two surgeries last year. I know he's got some neck back issues, so he's visiting the Cowboys on Tuesday. Well, today, pretty much, technically. So if that doesn't come, if he leaves without a deal or something like that, the Eagles could be pushing, going to his agent saying, hey, look, we have a starting spot already ready for Shaquille Leonard, ready to go. And, probably likes Nick Sirianni, could help. I don't know. But if Leonard's looking for a starting spot, it's right here. And God knows what this guy could turn into down the road. I don't know if it's a future piece for the Eagles, but damn, this is what happens when you don't put money into this position. So now Shaq Leonard could be fully available and really will have to choose wisely. And if he goes to the Cowboys, then it is what it is. But, then the Eagles will have to look elsewhere. I really don't know what other linebackers are available right now. I thought the Cowboys signed Rashad Evans that he signed to the Eagles practice squad, backed out of that contract to get a starting spot or at least more playing time or significant, will have a better chance of getting playing time with the Dallas Cowboys. So I know Leighton Vander Esch is hurt. I don't know who else is hurt there unless this is just purely a depth move. If it's purely a depth move for Shaq, then I guess for the Eagles for the Cowboys, with the Philadelphia Eagles, it might be more of a starting role. Obviously, when Zach's not here, So this might be a weak injury. He might come back in a couple weeks, and that's perfectly fine. So we'll see what happens with that down the road. But it'll be a day or two, or maybe sometime this week. They're gonna have to sign him quick. at least by Tuesday. At least by Tuesday or Wednesday, they'll have to sign him. I think Wednesday will just be the cut deadline of he could practice with the team and try to get to know everything with this defense. So can he steal him away from the Cowboys? Can the Eagles do that? I don't know. We'll see when the time comes. But obviously, a big, I don't think they are too high on Christian Ellis right now to really trust him too much. So we'll see what happens. Next on the list is some of the, obviously, news of Dallas Goedert recovering from the broken forearm. And it looks like Dallas Goedert's pushing to play this week. Now, I don't know if he's 100% yet, but pushing to play. There's been some news from James Palmer saying it looks like Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert will push to play this weekend versus the 49ers. We'll see if that's possible as the week goes. It does seem very realistic for him to be on the field in 2 weeks versus the Cowboys, I'm told. Yeah, the Cowboys game is really where I was aiming that he was going to come back, most likely. So I wasn't really worrying too much. Obviously, Jack Stahl has done a pretty good job. Got to say, not only the blocking, but has gotten some opportunities. And, man, thought he did pretty damn good, at least with the one reception he had. And thought he did a good job. And obviously not having Lane Johnson last game, it kind of affects your game a little bit. But I thought Driscoll didn't play as bad as I thought, Few mistakes, but I don't think it was as bad as the Jets game. Getting Dallas Goedert back would be great. There was rumors like a few days ago that he is healing a lot faster, hence why Nick Sirianni did not have Goedert on the IR. They never put him on IR because, they don't want to put him on IR and then all of a sudden he's starting to heal really fast and then they're screwed and then he has to be out 4 weeks and where he could have came back a lot earlier. So thank God they didn't put him on IR. Big chance. This is a big game this week. This is a big game in Philadelphia versus the 49ers. And, you need all the ammo you can have right now. At least BrianJohnson needs as much as possible going into this game. So Dallas Goedert coming back it's a high possibility, and that's a great thing. So if Goddard's pushing the play, it means, obviously you got to be careful with the broken forearm. I mean, he must be close to being healed. I mean, he's got to be really close at this point. So we'll see what happens to get our starting tight end back. Miss him so much. And then we had some other news with the coaching aspect of the league. Frank Reich gets fired. Frank Reich gets fired by the Carolina Panthers. Kind of crazy. Deuce Staley was fired. I mean, there's a lot of people that were fired. I know Deuce Staley was fired. I know a couple others were fired as of right now, and the Panthers players didn't even know about it. Like this happened, they found out through social media, which is really bad, and then had a team meeting afterwards. So they found out really late on Frank Reich being fired. Now I know a lot of Eagles fans are going to say, "Oh my God, sign him as the OC." Dude, it's not going to happen. The Eagles are not getting rid of BrianJohnson. It's never going to happen. Everybody just has to deal with it. It is never going to happen. All I could say is this. Remember when the Eagles played the Colts when Frank Reich was the head coach over there, and when we beat the Colts, Nick was like, "This is for firing Frank Reich." Remember that game? Well, because they've been so close over the years and they've learned so much from each other, and really, this is how the Eagles landed Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni got to the Eagles compared to other candidates as the head coach because of Frank Reich. Frank Reich is the main reason why Nick Sirianni got the job here. The number one reason why. And it makes a lot of sense. Now, I don't think I didn't think he was going to be fired at all. Like, you're put into a bad situation with the Panthers. Your first year as a head coach. You got to give it a couple years. You can't just put a head coach into a bad situation and because it goes wrong for 1 year. I guess they felt like just having 1 or 2 wins, whatever it was, it just wasn't enough, that they weren't going in the right direction. So Frank Reich will probably become an offensive coordinator somewhere, or because of some other news that was kind of going on with BrianJohnson, that he is the number 1 top candidate to be a head coach next year. Now we got to worry about this shit now at the end of the year. By God, BrianJohnson, do not talk to any NFL teams. Do not talk to anybody. I don't want to get into this bullshit where he starts talking to other NFL teams and it's illegal tampering, and we get into this another Jonathan Gannon situation where he starts to not care about what we're doing offensively, and he starts to, his mind starts to go elsewhere about more money as a head coach and just more opportunity somewhere else, and he starts to not concentrate on this team. That's what I don't want to happen. But I don't think with BrianJohnson, I don't think that's going to happen, so I'm not really worried about it. But this definitely worries me to the point where now he's going to hear that he's going to get phone calls soon from other teams to get jobs, to get head coaching jobs. So if he's the top candidate and God forbid BrianJohnson's gone, I mean, it's crazy, dude. Like, the Eagles are going to be losing coaches every year. Like, I don't know how teams do this shit. I really don't. I mean, it's amazing. The first team in NFL history come off a Super Bowl and you're 10-1, at least 9-1 where you were before this game against the Bills. It's absolutely insane how you get to a record like this. It's insane. Frank Reich now would be interesting to come to the Eagles this year. Why not have a job with the Eagles and be a offensive assistant, help out with the offense, something like that. Nick worked under Frank Reich. Nick was the right-hand man under Frank Reich in a lot of ways. And like I said, a lot of Eagles fans were jumping the gun as soon as Frank Reich was hired. Fire BrianJohnson. This shit is not going to happen. I don't know why people think as a 10-1 record you're going to get rid of BrianJohnson. Can't complain. I mean, there's a lot to complain about. I'm not a fan of the play calling. I'm not a fan of the defense at times. But at the end of the day, this is what's happening. You know, we're winning games. I mean, now there's just got to be some adjustments in the first half of these games, and we really won't be bitching that much. But you're not replacing BrianJohnson. If it's after this year, sure. But if it's during this year in 23, it's definitely not going to happen. And Frank Reich is now available. And Nick says, "Oh, I haven't really talked to him at all." You know, he's talked to him. You know, it's happened already. But would he come in as an assistant, as an offensive assistant to help BrianJohnson with the offense? Something like very small, nothing major, nothing crazy, but could be a big help to the Philadelphia Eagles. Frank Reich knows, a couple players on this team. He knows a few players on this team, whatever, but that's not really even the main focus. The main focus is get BrianJohnson some help. I mean, it's only going to make everything better at the end of the day. I don't see why it would get worse with Frank Reich at all, and Nick's very close to him. They're very close to each other, so that sounded horrible, but how I just said that. Let me know what you guys think about this. I think this is, something that there's a high probability this could actually happen. High probability. I don't think Frank Reich's going to sit out the rest of the year and just be like out of a job. I think he'll look to do something else and be part of something bigger than the Carolina Panthers. Okay? Be a part of something. Frank Reich was the main reason. Frank Reich was an OC for the Eagles in 2017 for this team. And I got to say, dude, I mean, really, after 2016, after Carson Wentz's rookie year, Frank Reich was supposed to be fired. Howie Roseman Jeffrey Lurie was going to fire Frank Reich. And Doug Peterson came right in and stopped it from happening. Give Frank like one more year. Like they weren't even going to give him another chance, which the rumors came out on that, which was kind of crazy. But Frank's got a lot of ties to this team because of that Super Bowl. And you know what? I don't see why this would be a bad thing. I really don't. Helps out the offense. It helps out, he can give him a significant role to help BrianJohnson on some weeks and stuff like that. So this is just a win-win for the Eagles at the end of the day. And because Nick and Frank are good friends and, have had a good working relationship with each other, I don't see why this would be something that can't happen. So I think that's pretty cool and could be something we have to check out later on. The last thing I want to talk about is, there could be other players around that the Eagles could sign. Now, Fletcher Cox is hurt. I know it's a groin injury. A groin is just something that you can maintain swelling or maintain it by not really doing much of anything. It's like kind of like a calf injury where you just have to kind of let it be the way it is until it heals and to see if you feel better every day. And I know Fletch is going to be out. I mean, he was standing on the sideline and he was walking around. So, obviously you could still stand and walk around when you have a groin injury, obviously. But I wonder where Ndamukong Suh's going to go. Linval Joseph's not around. He's signing with the Bills. And Ndamukong Suh is just sitting there waiting patiently to see if there is a team and obviously looking for another ring for himself and to get more acclimated to another team. And I think this would be a perfect spot for Ndamukong Suh yet again for another year if you're losing Fletch for a week or something. I mean, the great thing about getting players in the building is then you could start, mixing the roster around a little bit where you could put Penny on practice squad. You can move some guys around that you really don't need in specific games. Having depth on your defensive line is very it's great. It's fantastic. Your first two lines could start for NFL rosters right now. Losing Fletcher Cox in the lineup yesterday versus a couple days ago versus the Bills, it's a big loss. Fletcher's having a fantastic year in a rotation. Some of us are saying sometimes he gets way too many reps, but I got to say, Fletch, he may not be the Fletcher Cox we've seen a long time ago, but I got to say, he's playing pretty damn good on a one-year deal coming back for cheaper money, and he's doing a really good job. And, comes to show you, like, guys that are bred to this city, stay in this team and have the loyalty that they have, it makes a huge difference down the line. And Fletch has that. It's been one of the most respected players in the Philadelphia Eagles franchise, no doubt. Getting Ndamukong Suh now would be great. I wouldn't mind it. Does he have a little bit of juice left? Sure. Is it a lot of juice? No, but it's definitely something where if he's in a rotation, I don't see why he would be that bad, but it's not, life-changing. It's not game-changing move, but it's something that can definitely help us. He's got strength. He could be very disruptive against the run, so he could do a lot. He's still got a lot left, and I think it would be a good signing. Whether the Eagles are thinking about this or not, depending if Fletch is coming back, I don't know what's going on. We'll see what happens. 49ers are coming off of a 10-day break. It's going to be a lot more rest for them, less rest for us, and definitely some things to talk about. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about. Obviously, we talked about where you think Shaquille Leonard's going to go. If not the Cowboys, the Eagles have more interest now. Where is he going to go? Dallas Goedert coming back is a pushing the play this week, which is a huge one for us. And obviously, Frank Reich getting fired. BrianJohnson is getting looked at for, is the top candidate for head coaching jobs as of right now. Could open a lot for Frank Reich down the line, or could come in as an offensive assistant for the Eagles and do some good things. And obviously, when you think about free agents that are still out there, if you need more depth on your defensive line, Ndamukong Suh is still out there to help you out. So let me know what you guys think about all that. I'll see you guys on the next one. Enjoy it. Shakes, what up, follow, slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.